The one that I'm going to recommend, but very cautiously, is The Twilight Zone Season 2, the second season of Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone. It is good television. Hello, nerds. Just generally across the board, this last week has been extremely busy. So as things are going a little crazy, I have had other things that have had to take priority over today's episode. So this is not going to be 100% news. Matter of fact, this is going to probably be like 90% recommendations and about 10% news. Because I just didn't have the time for research for this episode. So the things that I've come across from my sources just in passing, we will talk about those briefly, but there's really only one or two of them, and so this is not the Nerd News headlines. This is not headlines at all, really. This is recommendations. This is nerdy recommendations. Again, we will come back in full force for Tuesday's show because I do have a long weekend, but that weekend is mostly going to be editing of all of the stuff I've been filming and shooting over the last couple of days. So, with that all being said, thank you very much for listening and or watching, depending on whatever platform you are joining me on, and let's get into some of these recommendations. Alright, so first thing, we're going to start in music. For those unfamiliar with the full format, because this is just going to be a generic episode across all formats, music is how we usually start the full episode. And a couple of things have come out. There is no news that I'm going to touch on real quick. We're just going to talk about the things that have come out recently that are worth a listen. So, again, for those not super familiar with the full format, I listen to, and we usually talk about on the news show, heavy stuff mostly. I do listen to everything, but generally speaking, I don't feel like heavy music gets enough coverage, so I help to contribute to that coverage. So the new Lamb of God self-titled record has come out. I was a little worried about what it was going to sound like, and it is good. It's not the greatest Lamb of God record that's ever come out, but it is still pretty dang good. So definitely check that one out. Palimpsest, the new Protest the Hero record, is amazing. I do still have those issues with the vocals like we've been talking about in the reaction videos to the stuff that's come out from there, but overall, Protest the Hero I don't think can put out a bad record, so that one's absolutely worth checking out. And the new Avatar, Hunter-Gatherer is the name of the record, and it is also phenomenal. So again, this one though is a little less, it's not in the same vein of the heavy stuff as those first two. This one is much more inside of the box, 4/4 kind of stuff. Very, very dynamic, which is one of the reasons why I love Avatar so much. Very easily digestible, I feel like, is a very good word for Avatar. Even though they are very heavy, they are still kind of for the masses kind of stuff. So that's a great record. And then not a record, but a song, because Gojira has not announced a record, but they put out the new song, New World is what it is called, and it is also very much worth a listen. And that's what we've got for music recommendations. As for TV streaming, The Boys Season 2 comes out today as I'm filming this, so that is definitely a recommendation. I haven't watched it yet, but I mean, Season 1 was great, so you better be watching Season 2. Umbrella Academy Season 2 is also phenomenal. If you haven't watched that yet, you owe it to yourself, assuming you have a Netflix account or a friend with a Netflix account. So Umbrella Academy. The one that I'm going to recommend, but very cautiously, is The Twilight Zone Season 2, the second season of Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone. It is good television. If you go to it with the mindset of it is good television, then absolutely. If you go to it with the mindset that Jordan Peele is trying to further what Rod Serling started, you're going to be a little disappointed. I am not a super big fan of what Peele did as far as Serling's message and as far as what Serling did with the Twilight Zone when he started it, but it is still pretty solid programming. And then we have movies, and this is going to be our first section that has a little bit of news. So for those that have not heard, The Batman has been put on hold. Apparently the first news report was that someone came down with COVID on set, and then we found out that it was in fact Robert Pattinson, the Batman himself, had been diagnosed with COVID. Now, fret not, because obviously he is not over the age of 80 and therefore is likely to survive this, and presumably this is his only ailment, so again, more things that are stacked in his favor, so he's very likely going to pull through. Actually, honestly, very likely to not be super affected by it. He will be sick, obviously, for approximately 2 weeks, like most cases are, but the severity of his sickness remains to be seen, though by all accounts it will likely be relatively minor, and they were only on hold for a couple of days. They have gone back into production on the movie, just without Pattinson, so they're doing all of the scenes that he's not in. So as far as recommendations for this section, though, we have Tenet. Oh my god, if you have not gone to the movie theater, which if you've gone to the grocery store during the quarantine, then you are just as likely to get sick there as you are at a movie theater. So go check out Tenet in the theaters. It is totally worth it if you can get your hands on an IMAX showing, because those are selling out like crazy. But if you just so happen to be able to get that ticket, by all means take advantage, because it is worth the IMAX viewing. Also, if you're not wanting to go out and risk it, then you want to stay home, the other recommendation I have for this section is totally Bill and Ted. Be excellent to each other. Oh, dudes, it is so good. If you are a fan of the first two Bill and Ted movies, then you will love this movie. Even if you are of the more conservative mindset, even if you are of the Comicscape mindset, and you are hyper aware of socialist narrative, quote unquote, even though there are elements of that present in this movie, it totally surpasses all of the social nonsense and is just a fun movie to watch. So definitely recommend that as well. And then comic books and games, we're just going to put all of that together. So comic books, for the Batman issues, the King's issues are readable, but they're a great lead into what Tynion is doing, so definitely pick up 1 through 89 that Tynion did, and then, or that King did, and then Tynion picked up on 90. Tynion's run so far is fantastic. Joker War is a great Batman read, so definitely recommend that. And also, in the non-Big Two publishers, we have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles run right now is also fantastic, so definitely check that out. There are a couple other ones. The Suicide Squad has had a couple of good issues, so that's worth a look. All of the Black Label stuff has been coming out. We're in the middle of 3 Jokers, so you can pick up the floppies for that, or you can start picking up Black Label trades, which is what I have started doing, because all of the Black Label books so far have been fantastic. That's Harleen, Batman Damned, so on and so forth, etc., etc. White Knight, Curse of the White Knight just finished. Yes, please. And then in gaming, we have DLC. This is kind of news as well. The DLC for Outer Worlds is dropping, actually, yeah, this week, I believe. If it's not already out, I can't remember. I haven't got mine yet. So that's definitely worth a look, because Outer Worlds is a great game. And that is the episode, guys. I thank you for joining me. Like I said, we will be back in full force on Tuesday with a proper news show. I just couldn't get to the research because I have so many projects this week. So thank you very much for joining me, and we'll see you in the next one.